Hello, I'm Hal Thompson, an expert. There was a need in my community for hard-hitting expertise to ask the toughest of questions, and I will be doing that on this new show, Hot Seat with Hal Thompson. I'd like to welcome to the hot seat my special guest, Mike Perry. He's an expert on writing and also a New York Times best-selling author. He wrote a book called Montana in Barn Boots. This book is pretty good. I got into it. He also wrote The Jesus Cow, which sounds like a good idea. And he also is the author of the best-selling novel Population 362.
So close.
Is that accurate?
Yeah, you've been mangling about half of this, but but I like how it's very heartfelt. Yeah.
I'm a pretty honest person. You can trust me. I have ham.
Not just ham in a can.
It's ham in a can. My other ham got moldy, so I had to use my backup ham.
I appreciate you having that because I'm on book tour and a lot of my food has to be portable and fit in a suitcase.
Do you have ham, and where do you store it?
I used to have ham because I raised pigs for a lot of years, and I just stored it on the hoof.
That would keep it fresh.
Real fresh. You should smell it.
I have a lot of goats in my house, so I feel a kinship with you.
Yeah, I was a sheep guy myself, but goats are fine.
I actually went to prom with a goat.
Well, that's encouraged where I come from.
I wanted to ask you some questions about Montana's and Barn Hole book. Do you talk about reliable idiots in this book? I'm a reliable idiot.
That's my specialty. I think that's probably why I agreed to be on the show. I feel really comfortable in that particular milieu.
I do too.
So as a guy who spent a lot of time working as a cowboy in Wyoming, that when you say that the name of this book is Montana in Barn Boots, I have to stick up for Wyoming and say, in fact, it's Montaigne. And he was a French philosopher, not a cowboy. So I'm a cowboy writing about a French philosopher named Montaigne, not Montana.
Do you have the barn boots with you?
They're in the van. I also used to have a cash box in there, but I went to the city of Minneapolis and someone relieved me of my cash box.
You got to be careful when you're in Minneapolis.
Plus there was a lot of people there with considered eyewear and refashioned facial hair.
Do you mean manscaping?
Manscaping?
You took your daughters to a Shakespearean performance and then soon after to a demolition derby?
Yeah, I think it's important for them to understand that in some situations it's appropriate to wear tights.
I always wear tights to demo derbies.
And that's your problem.
I find that I experience the event more fully in tights.
So does everyone around you, frankly.
I find that Shakespeare and demolition derbies are similar because at the end everything is destroyed.
And you're really, really drunk.
I am.
Well, again, you've taken me literally, which is nice, although I spend most of my time in a figurative world. You've joggled, as they say in the arts, you've joggled your literal and your euphemistic worlds.
I'm often accused of joggling. I feel like I could be an author. I might write a book called A Life Spent in Tights.
Shave your legs regularly, otherwise you have the protruding stubble.
I wouldn't want to be accused of being a stubble joggler or a joggling stubbler. I saw that you made an appearance at Oaks Claire's this year.
I did, in and out, because the public can only handle so much of me.
Before they become stunned.
Or someone asked me how to pronounce Oaks Claire's.
I wanted to apologize for causing a rainout at Oaks Claire's this year. I was attempting to do a rain dance. I was collecting rain in pots and lacrosse. I misdirected the rain because I'm not very good at French.
Right, and geography is a problem for you, clearly. The rain was fine. I've said many times, Ox Claire's is plural for many rainses. And so that was fine that you did it. The problem came to be more with the wind and the sky-based electricity. And I had to actually personally go out on stage and tell 15 to 20,000 people they had to go home early. I mean, of course, there's still a certain lingering resentment toward you and your rain dance. I'm not ready to forgive, but I'm ready to forget, because forgetting is so much easier than forgiving.
That brings me to my next point. In your book, you talk about being absent-minded. I don't think I'm very... What's the word?
I don't remember.
I heard that a psychotherapist said that you have flight of ideas.
Yeah, she said I had a manic depressive disorder. And I thanked her for that because she didn't charge me.
I wonder what that therapist would diagnose me as. Maybe I'm panic aggressive.
Full-scale linear panic.
That's a pretty good phrase.
That's a quote from Patrick McManus, a revered writer of my childhood who wrote silly stories about canoes.
Have you ever seen a miniature couch?
I have just now though. I like how the book fits in there. That's the thing about a book. A lot of people just tear right into it. They bring it home from the store, yank it out of the bag or out of the box that came in the mail, and they just open up. You have to let it rest like a fine roast. And this little miniature couch, if I may, is lovely for letting your book rest.
I got some questions from my friends on Facebook. Greg Simpson says, "Where do you put your ham?"
Greg, we already covered that.
Greg, you should pay more attention. Didn't you see that earlier in the broadcast? Now you've upset Mike Perry, and I don't like it when people upset Mike Perry. I got another question from Robert Menzies. Are you the tallest of mountains? Are you the roughest of waves? Are you the toughest of terrors? Are you the darkest of days?
I'm the strongest of the Lacys.
Are you saying that you're superior to goats?
To some goats in some circumstances, I am able to say that.
That seems a bit lofty.
It is lofty, and it's why it's not for everyone.
There's going to be a lot of goats in my audience that will be very upset.
Yeah, but there's going to be a couple that are going to really dig it. So
that's true. They'll say, at least he's being honest. Us goats appreciate this.
He's unlikable, he's conceited, but he's honest.
There's always a pot of gold at the end of every baloney. What is your favorite terrified bird sound?
Oh, it's the shriek of the shrike.
What's a shrike?
Have you heard of a bittern?
Bittern? Yes, of course.
Okay, well, it's not a bittern.
Oh, right. It's a shrike. Lola Catherine Broadus says, how can I do it to making my words gooder?
Yeah, words seem confusing. I don't know why you would ever even associate yourself with words. They get you into trouble. They don't always say what you mean.
If anyone tries to associate you with words, just tell them you don't. You couldn't. I had a really important question from Michael Frank. What's your favorite Disney princess?
I'm not falling into that trap.
That's my favorite too. I wanted to ask you one more time about your book, Montaigne
in Brain Bots.
Who was this Mom Tam, and what did he do?
He died. He's dead in France. He's still dead. He's always been dead. I am temporarily alive in Wisconsin, even as we speak. He was a rich man. He was a nobleman born to nobility, and he retired at the age of 38 to write essays in a castle. Seems like a great idea. And he wrote about everything. He wrote about thumbs. He wrote about the sexual danger of coaches, the kind with horses, not the kind with bad shorts and whistles.
I heard that Mom Tam got run down by a horse.
Got run down hard by a horse, yes, and suffered at least one major concussion and puked up some blood while he was at it. Thought he was dead, felt like it was okay, and that changed his thinking about death. He used to be very determined to learn how to die a noble death and to face death without fear, and then when he almost died, he realized, it's actually it's an easy groove, just ride it out. But then he came back to consciousness and had to hassle again with reality.
Maybe he's just temporarily dead and he'll come back around.
That's a question beyond my purview.
What's a purview?
A purview is a question that you should refer to the Pope.
I thought maybe it was the angle that a cat takes in an argument. I'd like to thank my guest, Mike Perry, for coming on the hot seat. Thanks, Mike Perry.
It was great. I really enjoyed it.
You can go.
I gotta have that ham.
I did promise you this as payment.
It's perfect.
I have plenty more. I'll be fine.